Saturn of Clarksville, Saturn of Cool Springs, and Saturn of Rivergate.
Crafts for Kids, a 4th of July sewing project, and great recipes from Ann Cox at 12:30.
Tonight's headlines: attacks surge in Iraq, 6 British killed. Still hunting. President vows to find bin Laden and Hussein. And a big hole in new prescription drug plan. Plus, Eye on America. California's screaming. Some angry voters and old political foes push to recall Governor Gray Davis. Prostate protection. Scientists find a drug already available cuts cancer risks. And teens grading parents' performance. How many of you make the A-list?
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Day after day for weeks now, the war after the war in Iraq has intensified. And on this day, British forces paid a heavy price. At least 6 are dead following 2 attacks in a previously quiet area of southern Iraq. Elsewhere around the country, there were other attacks aimed at Americans, perhaps 24 such assaults in the past 24 hours alone. CBS's national security correspondent David Martin has more on what appears to be an emerging guerrilla war in Iraq and the troops who must face it.
British soldiers in the south had felt safe enough to stop wearing their flak jackets and helmets in the stifling heat. All that changed today when 6 were killed and 8 wounded in 2 attacks. The somber House of Commons was told at least one of those attacks seemed well organized.
The 2 vehicles in which they were travelling were attacked with rocket-propelled grenades, heavy machine guns and rifle fire from a large number of Iraqi gunmen.
For the British, it was the first loss of life since the fall of Baghdad. Further north, American troops have been suffering a slow but steady stream of dead and wounded.
Regrettably, 4 American soldiers were killed during the past 8 days in Iraq.
According to this UN document, urban and suburban guerrilla warfare appears to be developing across certain Iraqi regions, with attacks in and around Baghdad increasing in both frequency and in level of sophistication. U.S. troops have become more aggressive in hunting for members of the old regime, but the get-tough tactics inevitably alienate Iraqis already frustrated by the slow pace of restoring basic services like water and electricity. Pentagon officials admit they were not prepared for what they found in post-war Iraq. They had planned for major catastrophes like oil field fires and waves of refugees, but were not ready to repair an infrastructure left in shambles by economic sanctions and looting. Good intentions don't seem to count for much in Iraq. American MPs are trying to retrain and reorganize the Baghdad police. As a symbol of a fresh start, they issued new badges and uniforms, which immediately started showing up for sale in Baghdad markets. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
These increasingly frequent and lethal attacks on U.S. and now British troops reflect the ongoing lack of restoring civil order in Iraq. As CBS's Elizabeth Palmer reports from Baghdad tonight, just keeping electric power on and dependable has not been accomplished.
All through the bombing, power from the Al-Dura plant kept the lights on in Baghdad. But a combination of looting and sabotage finally shut it down yesterday. Iraqis had no electricity at all for 36 hours, and in the 120-degree heat they were desperate, swarming ice vendors. The price for a block of ice is many times what it was under Saddam, but people need it to save precious food from spoiling. The Americans came here and promised so much, she says, but all they've done is hurt us. The U.S. administration in Iraq knows that restoring electricity is crucial, but there can be no power without security.
Our crews are somewhat afraid of being robbed, being mugged, being killed. We've had people killed for trying to do their job.
Repair crews have reported 2,000 incidents of damage to the power grid in 6 weeks. Baghdad's power system is a saboteur's dream. The city relies on power brought in from all over the country, and that means there are literally thousands of substations, all of them vulnerable to attack. No power also means no water, because the pumping stations are electric. So poor Iraqis headed for the sewage-filled river today. Power grid sabotage could end up causing a cholera epidemic, and that's the last thing the beleaguered Americans need. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Baghdad.
In Afghanistan, it's reported that the ousted but allowed to escape Taliban leader Mullah Omar has begun bragging again and reorganizing the radical, violent Muslim organization. A Pakistani newspaper quotes a Taliban spokesman as saying Omar has named a 10-man leadership council and directed his followers to drive U.S. and other foreign troops out of Afghanistan. Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein may or may not have survived the wars directed at them, but without convincing evidence one way or another, the hunt for them goes on. As CBS News Chief White House correspondent John Roberts reports, President Bush insisted again today that he believes the search will succeed.
Whether they are dead or in hiding, these two men continue to taunt President Bush, denying him, critics say, true victory in the war on terror.
We're just on the hunt, and we'll find them. It's a matter of time.
But there is little evidence to support that optimistic outlook. DNA testing of targets of U.S. missile strikes in Iraq has yet to turn up the gene for Saddam Hussein. Osama bin Laden lives like a ghost, it's believed, along Pakistan's rugged border with Afghanistan. As to precisely where he may be, Pakistan's president today put it this way.
Your guess, sir, will be as good as mine. So I wouldn't like to venture into a guess.
The frustrating search is quickly becoming a political liability. The Democratic candidates for president have taken aim at President Bush, accusing him of squandering American credibility in the world.
We not only cannot find Osama bin Forgotten or Saddam Hussein, we can't find the weapons of mass destruction.
And it's not just the hunt for America's most wanted that's going badly, says a former Bush terrorism expert. Rand Beers left the White House in frustration over what he called an underfunded and mismanaged war on terror. Today, he pointed out for Congress ongoing critical vulnerabilities at home, to aircraft from surface-to-air missiles, to skyscrapers and their parking garages and ventilation systems, to trucks carrying hazardous materials, and ports where he said 98% of cargo still goes unchecked.
The cup of Homeland Security and the cup of the war on terrorism is more empty than full.
Beers, who is now Democratic presidential candidate John Kerry's national security advisor, also says while some al-Qaeda leaders have been picked up, the Bush war on terror has dispersed others around the world, making them even more difficult to detect and apprehend. Dan?
John Roberts reporting live from the White House. In Israel this day, government radio quoted an unnamed military source as saying the Palestinian militant group Hamas may soon agree to what's called a 3-month ceasefire. If it happens, it might provide a little traction for the U.S. peace plan. But in the West Bank, Israeli troops arrested about 130 Palestinians suspected of links to Hamas. Later, Israeli soldiers trying to enforce a curfew in Hebron fired tear gas at Palestinians in the streets. As residents ran, ambulances carted away the injured. In Beijing, China, some good news on the SARS front. The World Health Organization announced it was lifting its last advisory against non-essential travel, this one for the Chinese capital, saying the mysterious virus is finally under control there. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in London today, the first state visit to Britain by a Russian leader since Tsar Alexander II in 1874. The welcome included a procession and a carriage ride with Queen Elizabeth, ending up at Buckingham Palace. Pomp and ceremony aside, the real purpose of the visit is to mend diplomatic fences between Russia and Britain following the dispute over going to war with Iraq. Private researchers reported today that American consumer confidence appears to have held steady in June. That's a better showing than analysts predicted. On the CBS Market Watch, the Dow gained about 37 points today. The Nasdaq lost 5. The Federal Reserve opened a 2-day policy meeting today in Washington. It's widely expected to close tomorrow with another interest rate cut of at least 1/4 point. On another big pocketbook issue, millions of seniors are now expecting President Bush and Congress to deliver on promises of some prescription drug coverage under Medicare. Lawmakers are still working out details, but as CBS's Joey Chen reports, the plan may wind up falling far short of what Medicare recipients were hoping for.
I guess at 1 o'clock this morning.
You'd think lawmakers would know better than to upset America's toughest lobby. But as Congress moves toward passage of a Medicare prescription drug benefit, seniors are looking more closely at what's being offered and finding things they don't like. Both House and Senate versions involve an annual deductible plus monthly fees. But when you start to look at coverage levels, you'll see what's referred to as the donut hole. That's the point at which there's no coverage. Participants would have to pay the entire cost of their prescriptions before they reach the level of catastrophic expense, when the plan would pay for most of the drug costs. The donut hole is bigger in the House bill, nearly $3,000 worth of prescription costs before the plan starts paying the full drug cost.
Okay.
AARP activist Claire Krulik falls into the donut hole under both bills.
Now it costs me about $4,700 a year. Really,
but she doubts the proposed drug benefit will do her much good.
It's that donut, that hole in the middle, that's going to eat up your money. It's the same thing as if not having any insurance at all.
But as it turns out, Krulik would be better off. A rough calculation based on Claire Krulik's current expenses shows that under the Senate plan, her expenses would be just over $3,000, and under the House plan, she'd still save about $1,000.
So why is there a donut hole at all? Well, with only $400 billion to spend, there just isn't enough money to fix it, at least not without cutting into some other part of the plan. So you can expect that it will remain in place as these bills move through Congress this summer. Dan?
Joy Chen reporting live on Capitol Hill. This was yet another storm cleanup day in Nebraska after tornadoes blasted through the state for the second time this week. At least 2 people have died in the storms, which battered the landscape with high winds in some places, high water in others, and elsewhere, record-sized hailstones the size of cantaloupes, like the one that dented this man's roof. In the Southwest, it's still an uphill battle against the big wildfire near Tucson, Arizona. More than 20,000 acres are already up in smoke, along with more than 250 homes. Almost 1,000 firefighters are battling the blaze and the wind, gusting to 40 miles an hour. Coming up here on the CBS Evening News, can the governor of the U.S.'s largest state keep his job? And if not, might the Terminator replace him?
A troubled economy and how it affects you. The latest on the war on terror, health issues at home and abroad. When you need to know, you need the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Do you always reach every spot when you brush? Do you always floss between all 32 teeth? There may be places you miss. Good thing Listerine can help. In just 30 seconds, Listerine kills germs to fight plaque buildup in places you may have missed with brushing and flossing for a cleaner, healthier mouth in no time. Listerine. Worth the time, every time.
My wallet. My credit card was in it.
You did have a Capital One no hassle card, right?
No.
Relax. Who's gonna find it out here?
Whether your card is lost or stolen, with a Capital One no hassle card, you're not liable for a penny. Plus, you get the nation's lowest fixed rates.
What's in your wallet? So what did the doctor say?
He said my knee pain was from arthritis and to get moving again, I should take Aleve.
Doctors know Aleve works right at the site of arthritis to help you get moving again, like you used to. Aleve, all day strong, all day long.
At Hidden Valley, we've turned our world upside down with Original Ranch in an easy squeeze bottle. It's easy to enjoy on just about everything. Hidden Valley, the way ranch is supposed to taste.
Buonasera, signore. Benvenuti. Today, we have some wonderful specials. First, a fresh angel hair pasta with a homemade tomato sauce. So sure to give you heartburn, you'll never forget.
It's different for people with acid reflux disease.
On top of that exquisite pain, acid gonna churn up your stomach and could grate away the lining of your esophagus just like it would a Parmesan cheese.
You should ask your doctor about the purple pill called Nexium.
You could be up all night.
For many people, with one prescription Nexium daily, heartburn goes away and stays away.
Tossing and turning.
And Nexium Relief goes deeper to heal erosions in the esophagus acid reflux can cause. So you don't just feel better, you are better. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. Talk to your doctor. Nexium has a low occurrence of side effects, including headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Don't let acid reflux eat at you.
How does that sound?
Relief, healing, Nexium.
In California, a campaign to throw out Governor Gray Davis, who was just re-elected last November, is picking up money and support. More than 40% of the signatures needed to force a special recall election have been delivered to the Secretary of State. And even though those signatures have not yet been verified, as CBS's Sandra Hughes reports for Eye on America, would-be replacements are lining up.
California election night 2002. And now, the sequel? Only 7 months after Democrat Gray Davis was re-elected, the state has a record high $38 billion deficit. And he has a record low 28% approval rating. Some Republicans smell blood, mounting a campaign to gather the 900,000 signatures needed for a special election to recall the governor.
We're in desperate need of a new governor.
Enter multi-millionaire Republican Congressman Darrell Issa.
We are going to have an election that will throw Gray Davis out.
He's donated more than $1 million of his own money to get the recall effort off the ground. Davis calls a recall right-wing mischief.
A few 100,000 signatures can't overturn an election that 7 million people participated in a year ago.
The ballot would ask voters to check a box to recall Davis, then pick from a list of possible replacements, which could include quite a cast of characters. Especially on the GOP side. Congressman Issa is already passing out signs. Others are glad-handing, including the most talked-about potential candidate who's playing coy.
I just forgot the name of our state governor's name. But I know that you will help me recall him.
Trying to shore up support for Davis, the state's most popular Democrat said she wouldn't run against him.
I'm doing my utmost to see that this recall is not successful.
If it all sounds like the Wild West, political analysts agree.
If this recall succeeds, it can destabilize the government of the nation's largest state, the nation's largest economy.
But the recall campaign's still signing people up. So are the governor's supporters. And there are more plot twists to come. A showbiz Democrat could be waiting in the wings.
Mr. Big Liberal Ignoramus himself.
Rob Reiner on the ballot would pit Meathead against the Terminator, an electoral match made in Hollywood heaven. Stay tuned. In Los Angeles, this is Sandra Hughes for Eye on America.
Best-selling author and World War II veteran Leon Uris has died at the age of 78. Uris wrote many popular novels, including Battle Cry, but he was perhaps best known for Exodus, about the founding of Israel after World War II. Over the course of his career, Leon Uris' novels sold more than 150 million copies around the world. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, research turns up the first drug that can actually help prevent one of the deadliest cancers in men.
By age 50, if you're just wishing for good health, good luck. Help improve your odds with Caltrate. The same Caltrate shown in a clinical study to help stop bone loss may also help reduce the risk of recurrent colon polyps. It's never too late for Caltrate.
Emerging science suggests that lycopene is one of the ingredients in tomatoes that may help reduce the risk of heart disease.
Now Centrum and Centrum Silver have lycopene. Another reason to take your Centrum.
New Centrum with lycopene. Now more complete from A to Zinc.
In national taste tests, more families prefer the taste of KC Masterpiece Original Barbecue Sauce over Kraft Original. So, when given a choice,
KC Masterpiece tastes incredible.
We're talking flavor Kraft can't even come close to.
my girlfriend says it makes my lips taste good. KC Masterpiece Barbecue Sauce. When it comes to taste, it's the clear winner. And now try new Dippin' Top sauces. Great for dipping nuggets or topping burgers.
Itchy feet? Smelly feet? Sweaty feet? Get Gold Bond Foot Spray or Gold Bond Foot Powder. Gold Bond does more. Gold Bond is medicated to help stop itch, stop odor, and keep feet cool and dry. Get more foot relief. Get Gold Bond and get on with it.
Oh. What's the matter, honey? Oh, I know just what you need.
For fast relief, take Alka-Seltzer. Effervescent Alka-Seltzer cools the burn of indigestion and pain fast.
Better, dear.
We make products that work in your home. We wait until we've got a product that's better than what's out there, that the consumer can see the difference in. Then we'll go to market. It's the duty to our heritage, and it's a duty to our consumer. I'm certain that what we are doing now not only will go into the next generation, but the generation after that.
SC Johnson, a family company.
She's dark green, cashback, low intro, and end of the month. He's yellow, travel, everyday rate, and middle of the month. She's purple, travel, low intro, and beginning of the month. Introducing Bank One's Personal Platinum, the simple new way to choose your rate, your reward, your billing date, even your color. Bank One's Personal Platinum, issued by us, but created by you.
For the Riffs, Lucky was a much-loved member of the family.
And actually thought of him as my baby, not just a pet.
Lucky died after routine surgery, but when they sued the vet for malpractice, they got a surprise. How much is your pet worth? That story and more tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
There's more disturbing news tonight about long-term use of hormone replacement therapy by women. The latest major study indicates the hormones can make it harder to detect breast cancer in its early stages and may also increase a woman's risk of an aggressive type of breast cancer. There's better news about the battle against prostate cancer, the second leading cause of cancer deaths in men. For the first time, there is a drug that appears to help prevent it, but it has its drawbacks. CBS's Richard Schlesinger has the findings in tonight's Health Watch.
For 7 years, Jerry Hood has followed doctor's orders as part of his morning routine.
All I had to do was just take a little blue pill every morning with my vitamin.
That little blue pill is at the center of a huge 10-year study of 18,000 men, including Jerry Hood, to see if a drug called finasteride, also known as Proscar, can prevent prostate cancer. The result, men taking the drug are 25% less likely to develop prostate cancer than men who are not taking it.
I think this is really the best news that I can think of in men's health for a long time.
The results were so convincing that the National Cancer Institute stopped the study 1 year early.
These are very important results. This is the first intervention which is proven to reduce a man's risk of prostate cancer.
Prostate cancer kills roughly 29,000 men, mostly over age 55, each year, which is why this study is getting so much attention.
I think there's a lot of hope. Up until now, we've had no good strategy for decreasing the risk of developing prostate cancer.
Like most medical stories, this one also has a healthy dose of bad news. A few of the men taking the drugs appeared more likely to develop highly aggressive tumors. That's dampened the enthusiasm of some doctors, but not Jerry Hood's.
I really hope everybody, all the older guys, all the geezers out there will get on this drug.
Hood's father died of prostate cancer, which means he is at higher risk than many other men. Before, all he could do was get tested and hope for the best. Now he hopes he may have a head start in the fight against a killer. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
Next on the CBS Evening News, the party line on what teenagers really think of their parents. The eye-opening results of a new poll coming up.
Gotta go right now. Gotta go right now. Gotta go.
If you've always got to go, ask your doctor about Detrol LA. It's been proven effective for overactive bladder.
Anyone need a break?
Not right now.
You shouldn't take it if you have stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems. The most common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, abdominal pain, and headache.
And I don't have to go right now.
Detrol LA. When you've always got to go.
It's always been our dream to run a bed and breakfast. The busy season, it's only 3 months long, but we gear up for it all year. And I had to go on chemo. Doctor said I might become anemic, maybe feel weak. But but it just drained me. The day we talked about canceling guests,
Maybe we should cancel the Nielsen's.
they've been coming for years. I had to do something, so I asked my doctor about Procrit.
Procrit is for chemotherapy-related anemia in patients with most kinds of cancer. If you're on chemo and too tired to do the things you used to do, talk to your doctor about Procrit. Procrit helps rebuild red blood cells, and more red blood cells can mean more strength.
Here come the Nielsen's.
I'm ready.
Procrit is proven and safe. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo. Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need, your strength for living.
Around here, there's no slowing down.
Have you tried Rolaids' 2 great new flavors? They're tropical, cool, smooth, new tropical punch, and cool strawberry. Pick some fruit. Feel the relief.
Wear contacts? Visine for contacts does more than re-wet your lenses. It really, really refreshes your eyes. Visine for contacts gets the dry out when contacts are in.
We're here showing folks how a packet of Hidden Valley Ranch changes spinach dip into ranch spinach dip.
I like it. Really, it's different.
And changes salsa into ranch salsa.
It's jazzy, pizzazzy.
Hidden Valley Ranch. This changes everything.
Ugh. Stop using messy athlete's foot cream. Try new Gold Bond foot swabs.
I've never seen anything like it.
Just snap to release the only medicine proven to cure and prevent most athlete's foot.
With no mess.
New Gold Bond foot swabs. The no mess, no touch cure.
Coming up on News Channel 5 at 6, Tennessee's budget axe has fallen, cutting 9% across the board. How many people are laid off? The answer will astound you. Join us at 6.
We close tonight with a rare adolescent perspective on parenting. It's a national report card of sorts on how American parents are doing based on questionnaires a Chicago group sent to teenagers around the country. CBS's Jim Axelrod is fluent in teen speak, so he did some first-hand research today, searching out the not-so-elusive teens in their natural habitat.
To understand an American teenager's state of mind,
from the MTV Beach House in the Hamptons,
head to the Capitol, an MTV beach party. It seemed the place to go after hearing the teens think adults are coming up short. Who thinks parents are not doing as good a job as they could?
On average, I don't believe that the parents are doing as great of a job as they should be.
1,000 teens were polled. Adults get D's and F's for failing to stop teens smoking and drinking, and for being lousy listeners. How important would it be to you to have your dad just listen?
Once in a while it'll be a good thing, but most of the time I just want him to kind of walk away.
Carolyn Lewandowski's son was one of the teens polled. She agrees.
There's not enough listening going on, but you have to listen to your kids, even if you have problems doing it.
There is another perspective with surveys like this, and I don't think I'm bringing it up just because being on this beach in this tie is making me feel 900 years old. And that is, a teenager's approval can't be an adult's first concern. You're teenagers. It's your job to complain. That's what you do.
Teenagers are definitely complain. They complain a lot. They don't realize how good it is that they have.
And that's the same one who said parents aren't doing a good job. In a high-stress, no-time world, adults may be falling short, but honesty requires considering something else, too.
I think my mom would get an A+. Because she always talks to me. She's always very good to me. She did a very good job. Although I never tell her that. She did a very good job.
Even when adults get it right, they're not likely to hear about it. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, Quogue, New York.
A rare sunny day on a New York area beach. Pretty good timing, Jim, and not a bad line of work. Part of our world tonight. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, log on to cbsnews.com. How much is your pet worth in a court of law? You may be surprised. Tomorrow, experience CBS News.
From your news and information leader. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Steve Hayslip. Chris is off tonight. Tonight, state government faces tough new requirements and how it spends your money.
Those requirements were prompted by our Friends in High Places investigation of contracts handed out by the Sunquist administration. Just hours ago, Governor Phil Bredesen signed the contract reform legislation into law. And for the first time, he told our chief investigative reporter Phil Williams about his own efforts to assist in the ongoing criminal investigation into those contracts.
Bill 1256 relating to contracting.
With the stroke of a pen, Governor Phil Bredesen signed the contract reform legislation into law. It's a law prompted by our News Channel 5 investigation of contracts handed out by former Governor Don Sunquist and revelations about how two longtime friends of the governor landed millions of dollars in state contracts.
This contracting has been abused in the state.
Under the new law, executive branch officials must notify the legislature's Fiscal Review Committee of major contracts handed out without any sort of bidding process, and they must provide